What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Time to talk some football. Obviously, BD and I have taken a little bit of time off to create and get reason. Plus, well, we just had crap going on, right? It just hasn't been the easiest seasons or off season, I should say,
No, not
as
really.
far as production, right? So, but we are back. We should be back on our normal schedule. We've got tons and tons to talk about, especially with all the developments going on in the UFL and a lot of movement and just a lot of stuff that we need to talk about with kind of pretty much the last show that we had with the breaking news that we shared that is still speculation because we still just don't know. Like there's nothing official that's come out of the UFL headquarters. We do know that there is a new uh, money man involved, and there's been at least one issue challenged,
Co-owner,
right?
like
One
main
challenge issue.
ops guy, basically, is what he is. Like I
He's
think he's supposed to
he's
kind
the
of take
dude what makes
take a
the
lead
money.
in operation and stuff. I mean, that's kind of what So, and I mean, he's been out there quite a
Yeah,
bit. Especially when it comes to Birmingham. I know, uh, he did say, they're supposed to announce sometime middle of September, I believe, kind of what the plan
yeah.
was for the league. Um, kind of at basically what his comment was saying. There's at least two teams that are going to get moved. Sorry, Houston and Memphis. That's probably going to be you, and maybe even four teams, which obviously we all heard. The last week, come out and say that, hey, Birmingham, one of the teams on the chopping block, but get 5,000 season ticket deposits in by I think the end of this week, and you save your team. So
Yeah.
challenge to Birmingham fans, kind of put up or shut up. We've been hearing all season long, oh well, attendance doesn't matter. It's TV viewership. It's well, Birmingham has all this other stuff, and we'd rather watch from home. Well, the league doesn't want that. The league wants you at the game. So
Yeah.
if you want to claim to be one of the best teams of the league, well, three-time spring league champions, you need some more support than what you got. So
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, man, from, a money and management standpoint, real quick, let me share this comment. Mid-September is when we're
yeah,
looking at some actual updates. Uh, from a business standpoint, you're not going to stay in business long. And I mean, this is basic economics, right? People
yeah,
inherently have to understand this, right? You cannot stay in business if you're not making money. How can you pay your bills? How can you pay your players? How can you play anybody or pay anybody rather uh, when you're not making money? So the challenge, I love the fact that the challenge has been issued to Birmingham to kind of step up. They're the ones that were kind of making it seems like the most noise as far as protest against losing their team.
yeah.
Um, and hey, real quick, I don't know what's going on, dude. Is not showing up. Let me go to my page and see if I can see what the heck's going on. Anyways, um, Birmingham was making a lot of noise about it, but I've got to ask this, right? And this is not necessarily a slight towards Birmingham, but maybe more to the hard work and effort of some of the super fans that have been around and been doing the work, such as our friends at My Panther Pride, who are still going in the face of losing their team. They've got a big backpack drive going on. If you go over to their Facebook page, you can see all the information that's going on. But shout out to My Panther Pride for all their efforts and them not giving up in the face of adversity. Shout out to our super fans in Houston last year that didn't give up when they thought that they were going to lose their team and starting their petitions and getting support and rallying the troops. Didn't really work out the way it was supposed to. Numbers obviously dropped in Houston, but they still they did their part. There's a certain someone, right? But there's a certain someone in a certain fan group who's been doing nothing but bashing the league and taking shots and attacking people, and that's very unbecoming. of a super fan or just a fan in general, right?
Yeah.
If you're upset about the possibility of you losing your team, get out and do something about it. Go, you know, go to some public events. Go let people know what's going on. Start your own grassroots campaign to get people involved to start buying tickets, right? We're very fortunate, and I will not, an unashamed plug, right? We have a James Carr. Most other teams do not have a James Carr. That's still continuing to push and keep the team relevant here in San Antonio. You know what works, so why not do it yourself, right? Maybe the league should be doing it. That's not the question right now. We're not going to ask about what the league should be doing or shouldn't be doing. We're asking right now, how dedicated are you to this team and how hard are you willing to work to try and keep them around? Take
Yeah,
that
and
negative and use that to start pushing ticket sales. And
I,
that's
I,
what Ginger.
I think it's a bit unfair to blame the league for all the struggle. Yeah, obviously we wish that the marketing was a little bit better, but we see the advertisements of the league as a whole puts on national television every freaking football game. Every they're advertising during the NBA finals. They were advertising all over the place. The local
Mhm.
teams have to do something better. They have to look at what San Antonio is doing. We had, just last week, we had an event at SeaWorld for season ticket members. We had a school giveaway that we did with James Carr and me, 210 Brahmasita from the Horns Forward podcast and Brahma Babe. Hand out supplies to school kids. This is the fourth year we've done that in a row. That very same day, we had a volunteer day at the food bank to support the flood victims in the Hill Country. The local team is getting out there and doing stuff and being recognized in the community. They're not just sitting around hoping that the league on a national level is doing it for them. So, and Jay, you may not want to call them out. I don't care. All right. I'll call him out. Bill Alexander, you're being a douche. And honestly, I'm glad Memphis is losing their team just because of you. You're a bad example to the rest of the UFL. So you want to whine and bitch about all the other teams, all the thing. Worry about your own house before you worry about everyone else's.
That's true. Again, not one to necessarily, take shots at people, but I mean, let's be honest. If you're taking shots at other fan bases and stuff like that because you're upset, um, maybe do something about it. Fan bases,
Yeah.
go do something positive in your community. Go start your own grassroots efforts like our Houston fans did, like San Antonio has done from day one. Uh, yes, 100% right here,
Yep.
right? This is a wake up call. Now, I will say, and I'm biased, okay, but BD and I, from day one, as soon as we heard that we were getting a football team here, we started doing things. We gathered some of the people that we knew from the Commanders football group, the whole AAF fiasco. Um, and we started pushing. We started doing events. We started doing all kinds of things. We had, the Brahma Claus event at McAllister Park.
Yep.
Um, there were a lot of people that were involved in that helped us with this grassroots effort. But we did things to try and bring awareness to it. We started a Facebook page. We started, and back then it was just a San Antonio XFL fan page, right? Because we didn't even know what the team was.
Yeah.
Uh, but from day one, there's been a bunch of that have been pushing and supporting this team. Memphis, I'm sure you had your solid fan base also. But what happened to it? Where did they go? Birmingham, where did your fan base go? You guys are posting videos about how you had 15,000 2 years ago. Where are they at now?
Here's the
15,000
problem
fans
with that
don't just
though.
drop off.
We don't know what the attendance was of these games for the USFL games because the USFL never announced their attendance. They announced TV viewership, never never announced how many people were at the games. We were talking about it 3 years ago. Here's the XFL numbers. Where's the USFL numbers? So, is the attendance worse than it was? We honestly have no idea. So,
I don't disagree with you. We've talked about it multiple times. Those numbers have never been available from the USFL side because they weren't nearly as focused on the fan base in the stands as the XFL was. That was part of the business plan, was to fill the stands. The USFL was to get the TV deals because Fox was involved. And that the viewership is where the money came from. So you would think that bringing the two together with the two different focuses, they'd find a happy median and be able to do both. And that just simply hasn't happened, you know? Now, I will say the UFL did a better job this year about advertising on national broadcasts about the UFL and stuff like that. But how many individualized broadcasts did they do? How many times did they go into a local market and say, hey, St. Louis, you guys have a UFL team. You should come out and watch the games. Now,
I think
St.
St.
Louis
Louis
is a
is a
bad
bad
example.
example because there was a lot. I mean, there's a lot of community involvement with the team and with the other sports and stuff like that. But I mean, let's say Houston, Arlington,
Well,
even San Antonio. And I don't, I don't know about like localized commercials, but how about getting involved with the local news stations? I mean, how I think locally here, KSAT 12 was the only news station that really covered the Brahmas.
well, in all fairness, though, and we know this from conversations that we've had, there were members of the San Antonio Brahma staff that didn't exactly do a great job reaching out and trying to connect with local
This
media
is
here.
true. This is also true. Yeah.
So, there is some of that, but that's not necessarily on the league. That's on
That's all once
people
again
in the league,
the local team. So,
right? People
but
not doing their job, right? Um, Kind of like that whole "you had one job," right?
yeah.
Anyways, the point being, um, this is where you have to rely on that grassroots effort, right? Go out, make a stink, try and find the people who actually do still have or are interested in getting the season tickets, round them up at an event together, do something like a charity backpack giveaway, and let the local media know, hey, us fans of the Memphis Showboats are coming out to do X, Y, or Z.
Yep.
I mean, Michigan's got the right idea, right? Um, oh wow, thank you for whoever scanned that QR code. It's much appreciated.
Very nice.
Um, anyways, right? Michigan's got the right idea. Follow their lead, right? You want to keep your fan base, do the things, get people involved, get people interested in what the product is. Because obviously with Memphis's struggles and like with Houston's struggles, hell, even our struggles, right? Um, People aren't necessarily wanting to pay money to come out and see an inferior product or to see a blowout where the home team's getting
Yeah.
killed. This is where you've got to get the involvement, get people to start engaging with the team and talking to the players and getting to know like the coaching staff and things like that. That personal connection will get you uh it will get more involvement, right? It'll become more personalized. And even if the team loses, people know those people and they're going to show up just to support the people that they know and that they love.
Yep. Absolutely.
Look, right here from Mike G, XFL Mike G, Renegade fan base. And we know the Banditos, right? We know how much noise they like to make.
Well, I mean, this was our,
They got people, they got the team behind it.
that was our event with the Banditos. Horns Forward with the Banditos. Like, they they put it together. It was all, 210 Brahmasita and the Banditos put everything together, and like the team, hey, this is awesome. We'll bring players. And then they did the same thing for our event when we played Arlington, at home. So yeah, it's
Yep.
kind of the whole if you build it, they will come kind of deal. You put in the effort, you do stuff, the league will recognize it.
Yep. So, and honestly, I hate to use them, but they are the prime example of what we're talking about here. Look back at the St. Louis fan base. Guys like Spurgeon and Arlington, A Train, they're the ones who kind of started this, fan-driven movement. Maybe didn't all, they can't maybe take credit for all of it, but they're definitely pioneers in getting the ball rolling and getting people connected. Uh, Lots of people know him, and maybe they know him because of his notoriety. Like people don't like this guy. Uh, but Dirty, aka Jason Spurgeon, has used that to put the attention on the team and draw fans in, right? Uh, Maybe you guys need to do something like that. It's about the engagement though. So again, we're gonna get off our soapbox here on that. But again, get involved, get engaged, push the attention because the league isn't going to do it all by itself, at least not right now, right? You've got to show that you want it and you've got to get some numbers coming in. And you've only got a couple of days left.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're going to do it now.
Yeah. And then before, I mentioned it, and I do kind of want to, uh, I give crap where, crap is needed to be given. I'm going to give a little bit of crap to our own fans as well. Like I said earlier, we had a food drive at the San Antonio Food Bank last week, and there were only 3 Brahmas fans that showed up. And again, it was myself, 210 Brahmasita, and Brahma Babe.
Yep.
There were about 20 that signed up that just didn't show up. And I mean, that's you got to do better, guys. This is, this was an excellent opportunity to give back to the community, do something for a really good cause, spend some time with kind of some of the local team members, and just like I said, do something really good. And I'm real disappointed that there was just a lack of people showing up. I saw people posting like almost like humble bragging that they were going to show up, and no one did. So, I mean, this was a great opportunity to give back and do something as a part of the team, part of something bigger. And you just, like I said, you just got to do better.
I'm going to jump on that with you. I think it's important that we address that. I did not sign up. I was not able to go. I was tied up the entire day, bunch of work stuff, and I just could not get away. So I didn't try and waste anybody's time and say, "Hey, I'm going to show up."
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to make it. I told you guys I'm sorry. Just like even the fan event, couldn't make it. I was with one of my daughters doing soccer, and love you guys, but the babies come first. But I also didn't tell everybody that I was going to be there. I didn't sign up on a document and say, "Hey, man, you can count on me to help you out," and then not show up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, San Antonio, guys, we know better than that. Okay. Say what you mean what you say. Follow through on your commitments. Okay. We're better than that. So, next event that happens, you sign up, you better be there. Okay.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
all I'm saying. So, again, that being the case, yeah, obviously the food drive went pretty well, right?
It did, and
I mean, talk to me
it
about it.
was even though it was just a few of us and the team, and there were some other people as well. Like we weren't the only group that was there. We filled almost 8,000 pounds of food. It was like almost 7,000 meals. It was a lot that we did. It was a good 2.5 hours, and we're just throwing vegetables in a bag and moving down like assembly line. I mean, it was something very fulfilling, but it was something that was really needed as well.
And you didn't eat all the vegetables, did you? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No, just a couple, but not
Okay.
much. I mean, they're vegetables, dude. Come on now.
Perfectly fine. It's okay to eat vegetables. As long as they're smothered in butter or gravy, then it's okay. But
So
that being the case,
real quick, just for administrative things, I still don't think we're going live on Facebook. So I'm going to actually share it from the Horns Forward page on our Facebook
Yeah,
page. So
that's what I'm trying to do. Right. Well, go ahead. You do it. I'm
I
not going
just
to do
did it. So
it. Okay. So yeah, there's definitely some connection issues going on for some reason with our personal page. So hopefully it's all being fed out now and everybody knows what's going on.
we haven't gone live in 2 or 3 weeks, so just kind of had to knock some of the cobwebs off and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is just the credentials. We probably got logged out and now I've got to go back in and kind of reset everything. Anyways, right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. And I don't mean you. Um,
Rude.
I know, right? That was funny. Um, I think his name, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Mike Repole has been brought in as a major investor in the UFL. What are your thoughts on that? Because I have a feeling that there are a lot of people that are freaking out over this and thinking, "Oh my God, this is the end of the world here." So,
I don't know a ton about the guy. Just kind of fast investments. I know he what was it, Smart Water or something that he kind of developed and ended up selling to Coca-Cola, whatever. Uh, I I feel like he's kind of got a good business sense, and just from what I've seen in posts and stuff like that, he's dedicated to moving the league forward, making it successful. And again, we talked earlier, even if that means moving markets that are unsuccessful. So I like what I've seen from him at first. I'm kind of, let's get some more announcements, some more like official things, kind of mid-September, towards the end, whenever they're supposed to start making all their announcements. Let's see what's actually going to happen and the moves that are actually going to be made before I can really, really start to judge the guy. Guys, right now this is just first impressions, but I've been happy with what I've seen so far.
um, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Um, he's obviously what is up, Jackie? Good to see you. And Amanda, of course, good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you earlier. Um, I think this is a good thing for the UFL. Mike Repole has been known to get involved in business ventures that are, maybe, oh, you're still sunburnt? That's hilarious, dude. That's hilarious right there. Look, Jackie's calling him out for looking all red. Anyways,
I think it's just natural redness.
maybe. Or it could be the drink that you're drinking,
Yeah, that or
which
that
is
or the
hot water.
whiskey I was drinking. Either one.
Mhm. Um, Mike has been known right here, XFL Mike G. He's not afraid to say what he means. And what he's been saying is there's some changes that need to be made in the league.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm hopeful that he's taking time to look at the growth that like Michigan did, all grassroots efforts. Um, just a lot of the effort that's been put into that from the fan bases and is basing it on ticket renewals,
Yeah.
right? Um, because if that's the case, then Michigan should be okay. I hope, right? Again, it's going to come down to the numbers.
And I
Uh,
think I think Michigan's thing, and we've talked about it before, is I don't know, it's not necessarily attendance at the games, because once again, they were the only team in the league to have an increase in attendance. I think they have a bad stadium deal. So I kind of feel like if there's something better that works out for the league, Michigan will stay. If not, maybe not. But
yeah. Um, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Uh, it's connected. Sorry, I'm working on an art project right now on my fancy Cricut that I don't know how to use at all. So, 210 Brahmasita, you may have to give me some lessons on how to do this thing. So, anyways, um, we're just gonna have to wait and see, right? That's what it all boils down to, is that it's a waiting game because they're not going to say anything until it's time for us to know. Um, and yeah, the stairs at Ford Field were a little bit rough.
Oh, hell
And
no. Yeah.
for anybody that's been to Ford Field, right? I'm a Packers fan, and that was my first time going to Ford Field this last year, and it was pretty rough even for me. It's some pretty, I mean, it's not bad going down, but going back up, it's pretty rough. There's a lot of stairs. Um, but and let's talk about that too, right? Because I think that that's important. It sounds like there may potentially be some stadium changes in some of these cities. That might not be a bad idea. San Antonio, I don't know that that's necessarily going to be a great idea. Maybe we can try and find a way to renegotiate our contract with the Alamo Dome, try and get it a little bit cheaper, because the other options that we have here are not great options. We don't
No,
have
we
an
don't really
indoor
have
stadium.
any other ones. I mean, the soccer field is too small.
No,
The high school fields. I mean, maybe one of the college ones, but uh, those might be possible. Again, those are outside, and hell no, my fat ass outside in the middle of summer watching a game.
yeah,
So
it's not really viable, but we'll have to see, kind of how things break down. Um, but and Mike, you're not wrong. He's probably willing to invest some serious change. I don't know that he's trying to invest 100 to 200 million over the next 5 to 10 years. Um, hello, my lovely girlfriend. You're so sweet. Right in the middle of the flow. I love
I think
you.
she was talking to me,
Okay.
but
Oh, baby. Uh, here,
yeah,
right? Shameless plug by Jackie for our sister show, Horns Forward Podcast, where we in fact did interview Evan Ashton, and we asked him some of the things that go into putting on a production, such as a football game on a Saturday at the Alamo Dome. It breaks a lot of stuff down to where like people are asking why not do it at Alamo Stadium or why not do it at Bobcat Stadium or wherever, like Hero Stadium.
yeah.
There's a reason why it's being done at the Alamo Dome. Go back and watch that episode. It covers all of it. We're not going to go into it too terribly much. Plus, we want to do the shameless plug ourselves because then you're going to watch us talking about nonsense again. What
How's
is
it going,
up,
Robert?
Mr. Corby? Good to see you. Okay, so that's a lot about UFL. Things are things are going to be coming a lot sooner, I think, as far as updates from the UFL, news, things like that. I think the schedule is probably going to come out a little bit sooner because you've got somebody really kind of driving it and trying to push the brand. I don't know if the season's going to change. I hope to God it does because I really don't want to be doing football in
Yeah,
July or
yeah.
June or anything like that. That's crazy. Anyways, uh, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that should be coming out hopefully in the
Like I
next
said,
couple
yeah,
of months. And I
within I
know it's
think
going to be
middle of September is when they said they were kind of going to announce the plan for the league, next year. So that's I think give us a month and we'll probably know what teams are going to be where and all that stuff. So right now it's up in the air, but we'll find out. We'll find out in about a month.
yes. And it is going to be competing with the NFL, right? So I think there is going to be very strategic placing to make sure that attention. It's not like, oh, hey, the UFL. Oh, but wait, my team's on. Never mind,
Yeah.
right? Because they want to make sure they don't lose any momentum that they do gain in the offseason. So watch out for that because I'm telling you, it's going to be really strategic placing, and it's going to be done in a way I'm sure that some serious marketing executives have looked at and figured out a way to make it stick, right? So, anyways, that's what's going on with the UFL right now. We're still in a holding pattern, just like we were last year, and just like we were the year before, and just like we're going to be forever. We don't know until we know, and that's when we're going to know. And there it is. Okay. But that being the case, we do know some things that are coming out of preseason training camps. Why don't you talk to us about what's going on with your precious Dallas Cowboys?
So, I mean, we haven't talked about it, or we haven't a show since it was announced. But obviously, the biggest news is Micah Parsons' deal, him requesting to be traded. and just all that crap. And I I've been saying day one, freaking pay the man. I mean, I think he should have gotten paid before Dak did, before any of these guys did. But Jerry wanted to sit around and wait. But I don't know if this is gamesmanship or what, trying to uh, just kind of up his amount or what, or just put some pressure on the Cowboys. But I will say this: if Micah Parsons actually gets traded, that may be enough to get me to leave, stop being a fan of the Cowboys. I'm not speaking in hyperbole. Like, that will be the ultimate screw up that Jerry could do, and I may be done. I would actually consider it. So. Are you there?
I mean,
You're kind of.
I can't say that I blame you. Letting go of the this may actually happen, right? This may pan out. Is that
Here's
comic
the
on the
thing,
show?
though.
What am I
There,
lagging here or something?
yeah, a little bit. There is no overpaying Micah Parsons. He is worth every penny that you can give him. I mean, that's just he is that good. So they should have done a deal last year, and they would have paid him less, but they didn't want to. So they're going to pay him more than what they would have. But he's absolutely worth every freaking penny.
Again, don't disagree. But it would not surprise me if Jerry, in his football prowess, makes a bonehead decision like that. I mean, he signed Prescott to a humongous contract when he never should have, right? And he's
Yeah.
continued to keep him on the payroll when he shouldn't have. So I can't I can't see him making the right decision in this situation. And I do see Micah Parsons walking to another team because Jerry Jones thinks he knows everything. Okay.
I'll be pissed.
Uh,
I will be so pissed off
uh
if that happens.
yeah.
John,
So
you're absolutely correct.
how are the other teams?
Jerry absolutely overpaid Dak, but because Dak was able to be overpaid because he sucks. Micah Parsons doesn't suck.
Yeah. So how are the other teams looking in your division?
I mean, Philly looks really good. I mean, obviously they won the Super Bowl, so they're a good team. They got just they're still the top in the division right now. The Giants, they suck. They're the Giants. Washington, who knows? I think last year was kind of a surprise year that they were as good as they were. Probably because of Dan Quinn. We'll see this year kind of whether they move forward or take a step back. But I think right now Philly's the best in the division. Pretty good margin. As far as any preseason games and stuff like that, I turn on the preseason game as kind of background noise while I'm doing something else. I put zero stock in anything that happens during the preseason games. Hell, I was watching the last week's game, and they were talking that that game, the Cowboys game, was the first time all training camp that they've actually fully tackled. They're not even tackling in training camp now. It's just wrap up, plays done. So you're not going to get that. You're not getting your starters playing again. So you're going to have to wait for them to get in game shape, by week 2, week 3 or something. So it's dumb.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit further east and let's check in on the Houston Texans. And so we know for a fact Rig is a huge Houston Texans fan, and so he's been sharing a lot of stuff from preseason training camp and stuff like that. So I'm getting quite a few updates from him on that. But it looks like, you know, Houston is going to be okay this year, right? I don't know if they'll necessarily have the same punching power as what they did last year. And one thing to kind of keep an eye on is that Joe Mixon did get injured in training camp. He's recovering, or I believe it's in training camp, but he obviously experienced a foot injury. For a running back, that's kind of a big deal because you need your feet to run.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he experiences any problems in the next like week or so before the season starts, that could potentially screw up their game plan, you know? So
What the
sorry, I had to bean a dog. Anyways, uh, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, it looks like, CJ's doing pretty good in training camp. He's hitting his receivers, he's getting that rhythm going. Uh, there's CJ Gardner Johnson is getting some work uh after apparently a pretty serious leg injury. And so he may potentially be out for quite a substantial amount of time in the season, but they're hoping that he will be back towards the end of the season and still be able to contribute something. Uh, and then there's a Brevin Jordan, who I don't know who that is. Uh, but this is a serious injury. The guy sustained a season-ending ACL injury during practice, so he's not even going to get to see the field.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's got to be pretty rough, right? Uh, it looks like the Texans defense is supposed to be one of the nastiest in the league, so that's going to definitely be something to watch out for. Anybody that's watching, what's up, Marco? Good to see you, man. Uh, but otherwise, I mean, they look like, you know, they're at least going to do as good as what they did last year, provided a couple more pieces of the offense fall back in place,
Yeah.
right?
No, I think so.
Yeah, and then the competition in their division. I
I
mean,
mean, that's the worst division in the AFC. So,
yeah. So, they might be able to Cadillac once or twice in the season and still be okay, you
yeah,
know?
exactly. And just go back to XFL Mike G's question. Will Greer, so Will Greer is actually the third quarterback on the depth chart. They got Joe Milton is the second, and he's looked decent in preseason. I mean, he hasn't been you know off the charts or whatever, but I mean, he's done some decent stuff. But once again, it's preseason. I don't really care about it.
Yep. Okay. So, because I got to talk about my Packers, right? Let's go to the northern border and talk about the NFC North. If you've seen any of the games, which chances are you probably didn't because they are preseason games, and unless you have NFL Plus or something like that, you're probably not going to see them, nor are you guys as Texas football fans going to care. But I think, and mark this down, uh, I think the Packers are in trouble. Okay, and here's what I mean: like we went out and we picked up one hell of a receiver. Okay, we made sure to get some certain pieces around Jordan Love to help him out, right? Including some of our injured players coming back and having time to recuperate and be better. And honey, that's nice, but we're actually going to talk about it in a little bit, and you won't be saying "Go Vikings" in a little bit. So just put a pin in that one. Um, the problem is they didn't do anything on defense. And if you watched any of those games, you watch the second and third stringers. Last week's game was actually surprising. They actually rallied back, but the defense had no answer for the offense. They couldn't really do anything to stop them. We were getting eaten up in coverage. People were just blowing assignments left and right. I mean, it's been tough to watch. Okay. Now, this is also Malik Willis we're talking about, the guy who came in last year and had four incredible games. really has struggled. He struggled the first preseason game, and he struggled the first half of the second preseason game. I think at one point they pulled him out and put the third stringer in, who helped rally him back. I'd have to go back and look at the stats, but there are struggles going on there. And it's certainly our defense is, I don't think our defense is going to be prepared. And we let like one of our key players go and didn't
Yeah.
replace him with anybody. So at best, I see us finishing probably third in the division. Okay.
Dang,
Which
third, huh? So you got
yeah,
Detroit and the Vikings over y'all.
I do, but Minnesota is only going to be ahead of us by maybe one game. And here's why. Minnesota apparently has been getting hit with the injury bug in the preseason camp, and a lot of their key players or important contributors have been hurt. And it's not just like one or two players. We're talking about like 10, 15 players, right? It's a significant amount that you can't just replace with a second or third stringer or one of the practice squad guys. So Minnesota is going to have their hands full trying to deal with that and still being competitive. Now, Detroit's going to be competitive. Okay. We
Mhm.
know that. Okay. I think Minnesota will come in second, but only just barely ahead of us. And then Chicago's going to Chicago, right?
Oh yeah,
They,
definitely. Just looking at, I would give you guys the advantage over the Vikings, just because who's their quarterback? Uh, what's his name? The rookie that was injured last year. They don't have Darnold
oh,
anymore.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
It's not Caleb Williams.
no. Caleb is Chicago. McCarthy. What is it? Is it JJ
Oh, you're
McCarthy?
talking, yeah, you're talking about Minnesota. I think it's JJ
Yeah,
McCarthy.
yeah. So he's
Unproven
supposed to be the
commodity.
starter. We have no idea what he's going to look like.
Right.
And I thought they brought in some backup, just mentoring or something, but I don't know off the top of my head who their depth chart is. But
I don't think
you
they
got
do.
an unproven.
But
It's basically going to be his rookie year. He hasn't played
yeah.
it all, so I don't put Minnesota as number 2 in the division. I would put you guys over Detroit. I'm sorry, right under Detroit.
Right. Over Minnesota,
Over
but under
Minnesota,
Detroit.
of course,
Right.
over Chicago, and
Right.
then
So yeah, it's JJ. He's doing his redshirt freshman year, because of injury. And then there's probably going to be a COVID year in there, and he's going to get a lot of exceptions because it's Minnesota. And he's going to start doing good, and then they'll can him. Because yeah, I mean that's kind of what they do, right? Uh Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins is still crying in Atlanta because he could be contributing and he's not, you know. Anyways, yeah, so the NFC North, it's not surprising. Detroit's going to carry the division again. I really, just from what I'm seeing, and maybe, maybe I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater here, but I'm not liking what I see on our defensive stances. And I know we completely changed our defensive scheme. Hey, what's up, Sandy? Good to see you. Let me bring up your comment here. Um, but I don't like what I'm seeing. And I really think that that's going to hurt us, especially if we play a high-powered offense like a
yeah,
Houston or something like that, dude. We're going to get so far behind and never be able to catch up, no matter how great Jordan Love could potentially be, which I also don't think is going to happen either. Okay. Now, I will say, in all fairness, uh, he's been doing pretty good in training camp, and he did have some kind of surgery done on his throwing hand thumb. Maybe he might have broken it in a game or something like that. We know Brett Favre tried to do that. I think Aaron Rodgers did at one point. And it's hard. I mean, when you can only hold like that, it's really hard to throw a football. So I get it, right?
yeah.
And maybe that was part of the problem last year. But just some of the decisions that he's made, I just, you know what I mean? I think we got bamboozled on the trade day.
So you
So,
mentioned you mentioned Kirk Cousins. That's kind of a nice little segue. You heard about the Falcons' newest quarterback, right?
uh, no, but I think you have.
Mr. Ben Gucci DiNucci.
Oh, Gooch. The Gooch is in Atlanta. What do you think his chances are? What's the over-under on him making the squad?
Man, I think what final cuts are what next Tuesday, Wednesday. So I figure he'll be on the team about a week. I think their
Okay.
third string quarterback got injured, so they brought him in. If it's a significant injury, maybe he'll stick around as the third string. But right now he's behind Penix and Cousins by a long shot.
True. So we'll have to see what happens there. And so
But I do just like watching Danucci play. So I mean, it'd be cool to see him.
it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
bad at all. Hell, I'd love to see him play here in San Antonio for the Brahmas,
yeah.
right?
Oh hell yeah.
Uh, but we got to see what happens. But because you brought that up, this is a good transition to go back to the UFL and talk about all the UFL players that are currently in the NFL on some kind of squad in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Obviously, before the cuts. So I think it's important to note that, and again, we're biased, but if you go to the UFL website, you can see it for yourself. San Antonio has produced the most amount of players in the NFL, right? For right now. Anyways, okay. So was it a team problem? Was it a coaching problem?
I mean,
Or
like I said, last year was just it was snake bit from the start. After they
yeah,
told us we were getting our 4 home games, and I mean just everything went to hell after that. It was injury after injury after injury. You know, just nobody could stay healthy. Receivers were dropping passes. Um, freaking just anything that could go wrong did. So it was just one of those seasons to just forget about. But
yeah.
there was still a lot of talent on the team, and one, you know, uh, Stylianos, who signed with Detroit, tight end. He was one of the major bright spots on the team, and he was one of the more recent signings, and
Mhm.
I think he's kind of one of the ones that actually has a legitimate shot at making a team.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I love that kid's work ethic and just kind of his focus is optimism. Um, I'm hopeful for him. I think out of a lot of the players that we've seen, he does have one of the better chances of sticking around. Maybe not probably not first string right away, maybe second, third string. But he does have a good chance of making something stick and then working his way up the depth chart.
Yeah.
So, and I'm seeing some folks like Stephen Gilmore, who's with the Birmingham Stallions, is now with the Arizona Cardinals. He's actually back in the NFL,
Yep.
right? Because he was in the NFL before. And a lot of these folks were, arguably in the NFL. And then, because of cuts and things like that, wound up having to go to the UFL, which we've said it a million times. This is the reason why the UFL is here for players to fine tune their game to be as competitive as they could possibly be for the NFL. That way, it literally is putting the best of the best out on the field, right? Um, but again, super excited to see a lot of these names uh, that are now potentially in the NFL. I'm seeing obviously Stylianos is with Detroit. I don't like that so much. Um, but we do have Kawan Baker, which is with the Green Bay Packers now. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I know he's going to have a lot of competition trying to go up against Matthew Golden from Texas because I mean that kid is fire, and if he gets with the right quarterback, whether it's Love or whoever, that guy's going to put up some serious numbers in his NFL career. So keep an eye on him for sure. Otherwise, yeah, again, some pretty recognizable names. Obviously we know most of our guys, but there's a couple other ones, such as Sal Cannella, right? Uh,
Yeah, he was
the
one. He was one of the early ones that was signed.
Mhm. And that's Mariachi Brahma's favorite player, so he'll be watching the Cleveland Browns this next year. Uh, uh, I saw another one. Where did
So
he
I
get
saw
from?
just today, Dantzler from Memphis. I believe he played for the Brahmas 2 years ago. He just signed with Miami today.
Okay,
That
and
was the guy that we were kind of like talking trash to at the Memphis game that was kind of laughing with us and stuff that we kind of dapped him up at the end of the game. Remember when DJ was with us at
oh
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
game? Him.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he signed with
Okay,
Miami.
okay. Um, Running back for St. Louis, Jacob Saylor signed with Detroit. So, there's some potential opportunities there. And Sailors is not a bad player. I mean, he's a good, solid running back, but is he going to fit in that scheme? We'll have
Yeah.
to wait and see, right? But again, there's some pretty big names that have transitioned, at least in the UFL, that have transitioned from the UFL to the NFL for right now. We'll have to wait and see how many of them actually come back,
Yeah,
or
we'll find out in
some of
about a
them may
week.
retire.
Who makes the final cut. There's we're probably at 60, 65 players now.
Mhm.
I'm hoping at least 10 of them make it. That'd be really cool, really good for the UFL.
Oh, look, I didn't even see this. Mike posted this one's funny. Damon Arnett
Oh
went
yeah,
from
I saw
Houston
that.
to
Yeah.
Houston. That's awesome. He didn't even have to move far. Let move my bag over here. I'll see you guys next week. Um, but I'm hopeful that we have more players this year stick in the NFL than last year. Because again, it all it does is supports the argument for the
Yeah.
NFL or for the UFL. So I don't remember how many players last year actually made it in. I want to say it was less than 10.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure, less than 10. I mean, obviously, Jake Bates, Detroit, and Rex Sunahara, obviously with the Brahmas, went to Cleveland to be their long snapper. I don't know if there was any more than that. Well, you had shoot, what was his name? Birmingham quarterback was third
Magoo?
string for the Jets. The MVP,
Not not Magoo. It was
Martinez.
Martinez. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was on the Jets. He was their third string QB. Man, off the top of my head, I can't remember anymore. But if it was only a couple more. So,
Yeah. But again, right, as
but it
long
was
as we
more than the year
get like
before. So,
if we can get 10, that would be phenomenal,
yeah.
right? So fingers crossed, hopefully we see that happen. Um, so obviously we talk about indoor football here because we've got some Texas teams, and it is something nice to just kind of check out in the summertime. All the games are usually played indoors somewhere. Uh, it can be a
Really?
fun game,
Indoor
right?
football games are played indoors?
Yes. Yeah, I know, shocker. But it wasn't always that way because you cannot consider the Rose Palace indoors. Just because it had a roof on it does not mean it
I
was indoors,
mean,
sir.
I
No, it
mean,
was not. No, it was not. Okay. So for those that maybe don't get the reference, that's where the San Antonio Gunslingers originally played their inaugural season, what, 4 years ago? And
more than
it was
that.
a
It's
big
been 5
was
years
it?
because they was because that was like there was the whatever the AAAL or something like that, and then they played 2 years in the NAL, and
Hmm.
then this
Now
is
two
their
years.
second year in the IFL.
Yeah,
So
they just finished their second year.
yeah,
If they stick around, we'll see. But yeah, it, that there's no way that place is considered indoors. It was horrible. Anyways, um, vested interest in it. Yeah, the hand. Um, there he is. What's going on, man?
what's up, man?
But so shout out first of all to our friends Bobby Otten and Sammy Sharp, Pro Arena Talk, and of course XFL Mike G because he shares a lot of that content with us as well. there have been some shakeups, obviously, in the NAL. Beaumont decided to, cast their fate to the wind and go somewhere else. And in the meantime, Amarillo Warbirds, which is the West Texas Warbirds, which we've been waiting on for a while to come back, has now joined the NAL. So still have a Texas team in there. Uh, Obviously going to be kind of a shakeup because Beaumont was a pretty dominant force all the way throughout the National Arena League this last season.
Yeah.
Now that they're not there anymore, who becomes the reigning champ, right? Columbus is still in. Are they? Maybe they're not. I don't see Columbus Lions in the lineup for the NAL. So, oh yeah, there's a couple of new teams. The Pueblo Punishers and the Idaho Horsemen, and then of course the Dallas Bulls, which people are kind of taking shots at that because they've tried to do an indoor team, that specific one,
Yeah.
and it has not worked. So we have to wait and see what happens. But just because they're using a name doesn't mean it's the same team, right? So hopeful that new ownership, better funding, all those things are going to be there and that they survive. But so that's what's going on kind of in the NAL in the offseason. Over in the AF1, which, we kind of started out very skeptical of the AF1, and things didn't look like they were going to go very well for the AF1 because there were some problems right off the bat. Corpus Christi definitely had problems, but that was more of a team problem than it was a league problem.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, uh, Beaumont has decided that they're going to be joining the AF1 and kind of a rebranding of sorts, if you will. They've changed their logo. They've kind of, mixed it up a little bit, trying to, make it nice and fresh because it is a nice new league. So that should potentially help out the competition across the board for the AF1. Now we still don't know, like, Corpus Christi, we're not sure what's going on. We knew about the financial problems at the beginning of the season and how that team kind of fell apart, but they still managed to field the team until the end of the season. They didn't just fold up operations. Do they have new ownership? Are they going to be able to come back from that? Are they going to be able to field a competitive team? Because remember, they lost all of their players when all that happened. They
Right.
all got allocated, and they were grabbing guys from like the Quickie Mart to come out and play. Uh, and then of course, Brian loves this next one. But they also introduced a new team to the AF1, the Kentucky Barrels, right? That's that's arguably better than the Steam Wheelers.
No, not just the Quad City Steamwheelers. So you got to get that whole name in there.
Yes.
And
They,
I don't know which team name is worse. I really don't, because Kentucky Barrels is stupid. All right, I mean,
yes.
yeah, nothing strikes fear into your opponent like a barrel rolling down a hill. I mean, God sakes, come on here.
Oh, a barrel.
Oh,
Okay. While we're on the AF1 though, I think it's important that we bring this up, right? Because the IFL used to be kind of the pinnacle connection for players moving up, through the different sports ranks. But Albany Firebirds of the AF1 sent 4 players to the Memphis Showboats, at least for right now, right? You've got Sam Castronova, Brown, Scott, and Hardy that have all signed with the Memphis Showboats. Castronova, I'm excited to see, right?
yeah.
Uh, but again, right? They're
Oh,
producing the
hold
talent.
on real quick. You gotta that's an underrated comment right there.
Oh, does
With
that one
the
gets
barrel, like the barrel coming at you, Mario. That's an old
like
school
old
Mario
school?
Donkey Kong reference right there.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll
Yeah,
definitely give you that one.
well done, sir.
Um, so yeah, again, kind of the crazy stuff that's going on in the AF1.
I mean, it kind of
Um,
sounds like Casanova. He's trying to be the new king of spring, because he was NAL, he was IFL, then he was AF1. Now he's UFL. So He will try to give old Luis Perez a run for his money.
Well, yeah, and I mean, arguably so because Danucci is possibly out. Perez can't play forever, right? So we need somebody else to take over the crown. And so maybe it's Castronova, right? That'd be pretty awesome to see that happen.
Yeah.
Uh Now we haven't really talked about it. But so we've got the final game in the IFL, right? It's going to be this weekend. And I never saw this coming. First of all, Quad City Steamwheelers made it into the finals of the playoffs, right? They were in the semifinal round, and they got beat by the Green Bay Blizzard, who, if you remember, like I made jokes about it and everything like that because it's Green Bay, and so I should support it, and I'm not going to. But they were horrible last year, and now this year they're in the finals, right? They're in the championship game. Um, Arizona got bumped out August 4th, which I mean, Arizona's, we've talked about it before. Arizona's been a competitive team,
Yep.
most of their time. Uh, they got bumped out by San Diego Strike Force. Okay, cool. Vegas Nighthawks, that was one of the teams that was middle of the pack last year. And now they're in the playoffs. Um, it's just weird seeing how the dynamics change a lot, you know? And we talked about it. That game is changing. It's not all about necessarily high-powered offenses anymore. Although there are still, some of those opportunities. Like if you look at the final game, the Vegas Nighthawks against San Diego Strike Force. Vegas won that game 74-68. Those are the numbers we're used to. Green Bay beat Quad City 71-64.
Yep.
Again, those are the numbers we're used to.
Those are the arena numbers we want to see.
Right. San Diego won by 1 point. Mike, you're right. That's why it's the Blizzards. So I'll give you that one. That's not an underrated comment, but it's still pretty good. Um, Again, you're starting to see some of these high scoring games, and that's what we want to see when we're watching arena football because it's supposed to be about the offense.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see for next season. I'm sure this Vegas game against Green Bay is going to be a fun game. So if you can find a way to watch it, um, tune it in, right? It's August 23rd. It's not really going to interrupt with any of the NFL preseason games or anything like that, but it should be a good game, you know? And arguably, the IFL is kind of the pinnacle when it comes to indoor football competition. So this should be a pretty solid game to watch. So,
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of checking out highlights of it. I obviously you know how I feel about the IFL network, so I refuse to do it, but I'll check out highlights of it.
I'm sure it's going to be streaming somewhere where we're going to be able to watch it. I just don't know where yet. So, but in the meantime, so that's kind of the latest and greatest going on with just football in general in Texas. We're getting ready to, obviously kick off the regular season. College football should be starting here in what, like 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
Uh, High school football, I think, starts in another week. I think they start 1 week ahead. Uh, but and I can tell you, Judson ain't looking so hot again. That's you know, it's going to be interesting to see who the high school champions are this year. I know, some of the champs from last year are going to be looking to try and maintain their titles and stuff. But I do believe that there's going to be, some new talent, if you will, out there, and some threats to some of the old guard. So we'll definitely try and keep you updated on what's going on in high school football, and obviously, local college and your stupid A&M Aggies, and the Horns. Um,
Hey, you remember
but
who the Aggies are playing the first game?
I know we still need to talk about that and figure it out if we're going or not.
That's gonna be a no. We got something else going on that weekend.
You stink, sir. That's fine. I'm showing my pride here. I know where
Yep.
I'm.
Yep.
Yep, and I'll be wearing my Roadrunner stuff
Well, there you
come,
go.
come that Saturday. But anyways, and it's probably not gonna be pretty, and who cares, you know? Um, but so that's pretty much kind of it for this week. There's obviously, you know, things are kind of shutting down in the summer leagues and starting to get ready to take off in, the fall and winter leagues.
I mean, we
So
got
yeah,
the last. This is the last week of preseason this week. So,
yep.
funny enough, we just talked about it. Cowboys are playing the Falcons, so maybe we see old Danucci in a preseason game here.
I don't think we will. I
I
don't
mean,
think
they're not going to play. They're not going to play the starter, and are they going to play Cousins? He's 80 years old, so you know
they might.
they
They
might.
might. They won't. They won't. So we'll see. Get Gucci get back into the saddle and throw picks all night long. It's going to be awesome. Anyways, okay. So that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Guys, thank you again for watching. Got to do our shout outs. First and foremost, our sponsor, W Energy Drink. We haven't given them credit in a long time. They haven't really given us anything. But maybe we can change that relationship now. So if you go to our Facebook page, there's a link there for the W Energy Drink stuff. Go check it out. It's pretty good stuff. Gamers absolutely love this stuff. It doesn't give you the caffeine jitters, and there's no kind of crappy crash from the energy drinks like you normally get. So check them out. Uh, Definitely want to give a shout out to AFN and Pro Arena Talk and Mike G and all the guys at Pro Arena for all the support and all the help. Give a shout out to our friends, My Panther Pride,
Nope.
who are doing God's work in Michigan and trying to save their team and keep them relevant and get more people signed up. For Memphis, for Birmingham, and for Houston, the challenge was issued, guys. Do your part, right? Don't just curl up in a ball and blame everything on the league. Do your part. That way you can at least say you tried. For everybody else, make sure you're getting out there and buying your tickets. Push your ticket sales reps. You can blow up James Carr. If your ticket rep in your local market is not answering you, get a hold of James Carr. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him all over the place. He should be able to help you at least get connected with somebody. Or just he'll do it himself, right? But he's the guy you want to talk to. Football's right around the corner, Brian. It's a damn good time to be alive, man. Gotta love being in Texas.
Absolutely.
All right. That being the case, you got anything to say to the fans before we sign off?
You know what? I'll just give a general suck it NFC East.
There you go. I like that. I'm gonna say go runners and suck it Bears. You haven't been relevant since '85. Don't try it now. Okay. See you guys.
Later.